is another live edition of the Highway Sports. Fasten your seatbelts. As promised, we're back with another live show. Joining moi this evening is my podcast sister, Miss Princess Guna Amanda. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
And of course,
again,
a show wouldn't be complete without Super Kev on Dickie Bow Thursday. Let's see ya, eh? Does that twirl?
We're going to party hard. You know we're going to party hard. We're going to party hard. You know we're going to party. Tornado, run that tune.
Well, we've got DJ Tony Perry in the house who could run that tune for us. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tony Perry. Thank you for joining us. And we have Demian Arriaga, who another musician, a drummer, and he's your bass, by the way, is coming along real nice over there, Mr. D. Welcome to the show, a very good friend of the show as well. D's been on before. This is
let's give him a clap. Give him a clap.
Cheers, thank you.
Nice.
Now you don't have to worry about breaking Mr. Perry in gently here. He is a Highbury squad virgin, but as you can see, he's come well prepared with his shirt. He's got his scarf, and we're all ready to go. So as you guys know, we love doing our fan shows. These two guys are very well informed, super smart Arsenal fans, and we love talking to super smart Arsenal fans. We've just come off the transfer window. We're in the boring interdull, or lull, as Amanda likes to call it.
Interdull.
So bored. I mean, what a terrible time for this international break as well, right? Kevin's already partying, so
yeah, man, let's party. Listen, 2 weeks. The party's for 2 weeks.
Okay, let's get to it because I'm sure Tony and Demian are going to have some questions for you guys as well. So let's start with you, Mr. Tony Perry. It was looking a little bleak, but as Super Kev said in his Kev Says segment yesterday, he was alarmed at how Arsenal fans were kind of, panicking about everything. Thomas Partey really was the icing on the transfer cake. I think people forgot that we re-signed Saka, we re-signed Oba, and Gabriel is looking like the king of kings at the back. How do you feel about Thomas Partey first and overall Arsenal's transfer window?
Definitely. I agree with Kev. We've got to have faith with Edu and Arteta and everything they're doing. Everyone they've gone for, they seem to have convinced that Arsenal is the place for them. And I think with Partey, I haven't been that excited by a combative midfielder since I think Lassana Diarra was the last person I thought you're the real deal, and he didn't stay around for very long. This guy, new era, and we probably had a hold there for, 15, 20 years. So it's the right time, and he's a massive, massive signing. Between him and Noir, I think we've got someone that fits the Arsenal way, his personality to boot with everything. I think he's a great signing.
And Demian, you and I kind of go back and forth a lot on this stuff too. And by the way, if there's anyone out there who supports the Arsenal women's team and is a champion for it, this is the guy. This is the guy. Tell us about how excited you were with the signing of Mr. Partey and the rest of the transfer window as well.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. Such a pleasure to be with amazing Arsenal legends and, of course, Kevin Campbell.
I like that.
Seriously, Kev, it's a massive honor, and I respect you not only as a footballer, but as a man of color and somebody that also supports women in football. So we're on the same team, and I strive to be like you as well. The transfer situation has been so interesting because I've been mostly focused, as you said, Sophie, on the women's team and just trying to educate myself more and still live within that Arsenal bubble. And Partey was probably the only player that I have seen in Europe that I've almost wished that he was one of ours for a few months. And then conversations started happening. And I was speaking with Pete from Le Grove a few months ago, and he had mentioned him. And that's how I started sort of getting into him. And I was so excited because of what Tony says. And we all know it's like the massive elephant in the room since Patrick Vieira left. Like, how do you not plug that gap? How do you? Everybody sees it. Everybody in their people that hate Arsenal know what we need to do. And finally, I think that hopefully, at least on paper and what we've seen with Atletico Madrid, we know what he's capable of. So I'm hoping that it'll be one of our own in every shape and form, you know.
So Super Kev, on your Kevin Says segment yesterday, you did have a little bit of a mini pop at the naysayers in particular. And on our show, we try not to be too reactionary. We try to be measured in our conversations and give the club the benefit of the doubt. We've definitely gone after the owners in our time. There's no doubt about that. I think all Arsenal fans have. Tell us what you kind of, for those who haven't listened yet, and you should, tell us what you meant by that, and how you see maybe the DNA and culture that Edu and Arteta are rebuilding will go a long way in also making Arsenal fans maybe attack this season in a little bit more of a calm manner, if that's possible.
Well, I think it was really aimed, Sophie, at obviously the naysayers who look at the Arsenal fan base and then and say it's never going to happen, and then no signings are going to come in. Then they target Edu and Edu's family on social media and write nasty stuff and abuse them. I think that's wrong. That's very wrong. Now, the window isn't closed. If the window had closed, and I'm not saying that is acceptable, if the window closes, then you can have a pop, can't you? Fair enough. Then you could say, we should have got this, we should have got that. But until the window closes, you got to keep that closed, keep these quiet, the fingers, until the window's closed. Arsenal had to play the game with Atletico because, if we're honest, Arsenal held a massive chip up their sleeve, which was Torreira. That was the chip. That was the chip that got the deal moving. So Arsenal had to play the game, and who knows? You know, it was a game of blink. Who was going to blink first? And the game didn't really materialize until the last day or so. So, you know, you've got to give these people at the helm the necessary time to do what they've got to do. And look, it's party time now. Everybody could party now. You see what I mean? All those dodgy mouths and dodgy fingers, that's all a thing of the past. Getting our man was the important part, and I'm so pleased we got him.
And we certainly did, Amanda. And I think one of the things that I love about the supposed reports is the shithousery of which Edu kind of approached the deal, in that we gave Atletico no notice. That shit's been happening to us for years. And to finally be dealing that to another club. I like Atletico. I always kind of rooted for them when they were in the Champions League finals with Real Madrid, because it would be great to see Diego Simeone and that team he's built win something. But at the same time, the fact that we did it in the manner in which we did shows you that the old Arsenal way of doing business is out the door. And there's a new chief and sheriff in town. And it's Edu and Arteta.
Very true. I loved it. The fact that they turned us down, didn't they? And that's why we went straight to La Liga. I love the fact that this all went on, and the fact that it, as you say, it always happens to us. We do look at the Suarez stuff with the pounds and everything. I mean, what you've got to understand is they wanted their man a very long time ago, and they got their man. They went to La Liga and bought him, and I love that. I mean, I can't.
Well, that's how you have to do. That's the great thing about La Liga, really, but is that you deal with the league.
I can't believe that goes on, that you don't have to go to the club. They literally, La Liga's in charge of that player once the release clause is met. So yeah, and I mean, I've just watched a little video of him via the Arsenal Twitter, and he's so humble and he's so thankful for all his love and messages. He's shocked. I really wanted to say to him, just this is nothing. Once you start even playing for us, it's just going to go through the roof, you know. And even when he went, remember, no Thomas, no Partey. I was like, I love him already. I love him anyway.
He's definitely Tony and Demian. He already seems like one of those players. Gabriel, for me, in a more understated way, perhaps, because he's come from a league that, I don't care what Arsenal fans say, there are a lot of people that didn't know who Gabriel was until we were after him. That happens a lot with Ligo playing. Same with Aouar. But with Thomas Partey, because he has been very present in the Champions League and people have seen him on the big stage, he seems to me, Tony, like the type of player that we've already fallen in love with.
100%. I think the first thing is that you can see on the pitch, he's from the school of Simeone. And whilst that's not necessarily the Arsenal way, that's definitely what we've been missing. And the other thing that I love as well, he's come and he speaks perfect English, which definitely helps, and he's endeared himself to the fans. The way the Arsenal culture and our fan base is, the great thing is, you know, the tune coming out, Party Hard, and everyone remembering that, and he's jumping on it, the club are jumping on it. For me, growing up and watching the likes of Kev, that was what made me fall in love with Arsenal, was the culture of the players and the relate to the fans. And as you say, he seems to fit in that. I mean, the African fan base that we've got, somebody said, I found it quite interesting, you know, you go to Ghana, and no disrespect to Atletico, you could say in the last 10 years they've done a lot better than us, but everyone knows Arsenal, they don't know Atletico. So that synergy of having from the likes of, you know, Vieira, the Ivory Coast, Kanu with Nigeria, this is another thing that's a big part of Arsenal's DNA in modern times, I think.
Yeah,
can I
so
also
true.
say one thing as well, that what I feel it's doing, and it's gradually happening, is they're becoming more connected with the fans, where for years it's not been there at all.
Frustrated. Yeah.
And now what's happening is, I think Aubameyang signing, I think Lacazette, their relationship, the fact that there doesn't feel like there's any cliques anymore. It feels like Arteta's at the helm, and all of a sudden he's got his squad, his team, his office room start. He's got everybody, and then he's got millions and millions of fans. We're all connecting. Even Thomas Partey's been here 5 seconds, seems to have connected with us. There isn't that standoff thing anymore. It feels like we're all one big happy family, where we've not been for at least 10 years. So that's another thing he's done.
Yeah, and Demian, I know there's still idiots out there, and every fan base has their idiots and stuff. But we've seen too here in the United States with the tours, how much bigger they're getting year on year on year. And the last tour, I was absolutely blown away by the crowds, not only the crowds, but all of the offshoot events that were happening. We're definitely one of the most followed clubs in the US as well. And we are seeing this kind of friendliness that is growing again within the fan base. And you're someone who likes to kind of bring people together too. And it's great to see that here in the US, isn't it, in terms of our club and where we stand?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And, you know, to sort of pick on a little bit of what Tony was saying and everybody was saying, what I think I love about the Partey signing is that he can back it up, or we hope that he can back it up. And it's not just this media signing and the social media thing, and he's cool on Twitter and he does this and he's like this irreverent personality and blah, 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 blah. He's just like this no business, like Edgar Davids, right? One of my all-time favorite players. Like, that's the kind of guy that you want. And I'm finally happy that it's happening. And I have a feeling that he can back up all that or meet our expectations as a fan in the Premier League as a whole. So I'm glad to see him play for us. Like Michael Essien, when he played for Chelsea, like I hated to love him. And he was just a monster player. So many other players that have been before, and finally he's on our team. But what you were saying about this country, I love that the team is growing. I'm very happy. I have to raise my hand and admit that for the latter Wenger years, I boycotted Arsenal events and I never bought a shirt. And it was my way of protesting. And it was my way of saying, I'm not okay with how this is happening. And that's just my way. And now, obviously, I regret not going out. But the reality is, like a few years ago, I would love to have met Aaron Ramsey and Oxlade-Chamberlain, for example, and Bellerin. And that's about it. I would have had to really think about, like, do I really want to go to Santa Monica and go stand in line and meet so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And the reality is that it wasn't. But now, like Amanda was saying, there's a whole different vibe. And even though we don't know ever what is really happening in a club, when, you know, Kevin will tell you this as a former player, but there's something undeniable about that spirit and what we get, that feeling in our gut that we're like, this is it. We feel happy. And that's, at the end of the day, we want to be happy with our team and want to be proud of our team.
It's like when you're in a really bad marriage or a relationship and then you leave it and then you meet someone new and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in love again. And here's a question, and I'll start with you, Super Kev, from Archie, which I think is, shut up you. Not you, Archie. This is a really important question because we have, I mean, slaughtered the owners over the years. We really have. And I think some of it also is, Mr. Wenger and Gazidis are to blame for making bad deals, super bad contracts. This is why we haven't been able to get rid of the Kolasinac's, the Ozils, the Mustafis, the Sokratis of the world. Why would they? Who's going to pay them 100+ grand a week when they really don't have the talent to warrant that? So, Kev, Mr. Kroenke or the Kroenkes are showing confidence in Arteta. They say the Partey signing was underwritten by him because of Arteta wanting him so badly. Do we give him a break now? Do we step back? Or what's your thought?
Well, Sophie, I honestly think Stan Kroenke has backed the manager this window. Mm-hmm. When you look at, don't forget, we've signed a few players early as well. We've signed Cedric. We've signed the Brazilian centre-half, the left footer. Pablo Mari. We've signed who I think is so cheap money, Gabriel. He was cheap at the price. And truthfully, I think we got Thomas Partey cheap. Because if he never had that clause in his contract, he could go for 60, 70 million. Easy. Because he's a world-class player. We've now got a world-class player in the centre of our midfield. This is what we've been missing for so many years. And finally, that gap. Under Wenger, we were crying out, does it get plugged? Does it get plugged? Yes, it gets plugged. So we've got to give the owners and the family, the Kroenke, some credit. Fair enough, we have a go at them when they don't back the manager, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's fair. So we've got to play it both ways. We've got to have the same energy when they do right. And I believe they've done the right thing. And it's party time, man.
It's just so exciting. It's just so exciting.
It's party time.
I haven't been this excited in ages about our club. It's great.
Love it.
Tony, you have been critical of the owners, haven't you? And I was really curious to see from your perspective as a fan how you see it now based on this window. And let's not forget, keeping we would have lost Saka maybe 2 seasons ago. We would have easily lost Aubameyang. What's your take on the Kroenkes?
Definitely, it's an interesting one, and I think first of all they've got the right man in Arteta, because none of this would be happening without him. But with the Kroenkes, it's a difficult one because you see where they've invested in other parts of the world with that incredible stadium in Vegas, right? And it's just, you kind of look and you think, as us as a brand and as a club, we've got everything there. The pull's coming from Arteta now. And my personal thought was, if he hasn't shown up at a game, I know he's had Josh's son there at a lot of the games, which is great, but you felt a disconnection again between the owners. And when there's all this calamity going on and maybe not the right sort of signings, you do turn your head to the owners. Personally, I do think it's a fantastic thing, given the pandemic and everything that's happened, if we're cash strapped. And I think they're obviously forecasting going forward. We can't rely on gate money for maybe a little while now. And that's a massive hit. And if you look at the table of how much money we've spent now, in this window compared to other clubs, it's not been so bad. The other positive thing, I think, where maybe I was critical and looking back in retrospect, is that because we've been signing the wrong players completely in a lot of areas, we were getting no resale money. The likes of Alexis Sanchez, I think that really should have left us like Liverpool would have done, 100 million with Coutinho or whatever it was in our pocket. But we've never had the money to reinvest. So now Arteta will take the heat off of the owners, because I think if we ever do have to sell again, it's going to be someone we're going to profit handsomely from, and we can reinvest like Liverpool have done.
Yeah, definitely. Some great points there. And that stadium is in LA. You're thinking of the Raiders Stadium in Vegas, which is just as crazy. Right. I have to say, that stadium, when you drive past it, it is like a scene out of Star Trek. It is unbelievable. I'm so bummed that there was no tour this summer, so the team would obviously come and play there, because it is a state-of-the-art. Everyone's banging on about Tottenham Stadium, which it's pleasant. Pleasant. That's a wrong word. It's architecturally, yeah.
It's like quality.
It is. All right. Here's something that
I don't think Demi Ann's going to know what a Kazi is. Do you, Kev?
I think he probably does.
The motion in my mind, I'm like, it looks like a toilet seat.
There you go.
Yay!
Cockney's universal.
Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Kazi.
Okay, so here's a subject I really didn't want to talk about, and I really promised on the last show, Kevin and I especially. I know, Casey, but
Bring it up. Let's do it. All
right, let's do it, because this whole Ozil thing just keeps on going. And what I liked about, and I'm going to start with you, Amanda, on this one, because you've been such a fangirl of this guy. It's been ongoing and ongoing. It's his shithousery, my word of the day, started with trying to marginalize Emery, right? And he tried to do it with Freddie. And he comes off with his little PR spinning and his little pictures on Instagram. Then he goes to save Gunnosaurus. I'm not criticizing the humanitarian, because Ozil does a lot of good things that help a lot of people all around the world. But you can criticize a player and not make the waters murky with what he does off the pitch, right? The Guendouzi picture too. I mean, come on, dude. Another pop at the club. It's just, and what I like about what Arteta did is he completely eliminated him from the narrative last season. He just put the kibosh on it. And he wasn't announced in the Europa League squad, along with Sokratis. Amanda, are you going to continue to defend the indefensible?
I've not defended him for weeks. All I said was that I feel that he could still do a job for us. And the fact that if Arteta doesn't want to play him, that's £325,000 a week down the drain. And why not play him if that's
because
what we need?
Shit.
He's not shit. He's not shit.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. And you haven't seen him for ages to even say that. But what I don't get is he is a massive humanitarian, but yeah, he's mates with Erdogan. So I can't understand. I'm like, it's like this for me, because what he did with the dinosaur, as we call it, we all know what it was. Whether it was a nice gesture or not, we all know what it is. He just tries to be bigger than the club at the moment. I feel I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. When you look at him in training with everyone, he looks perfectly happy. But how can a player be happy that's not been playing and still not going to be playing? I don't understand. I've never known anything like it. All I'd like to say is I think it's done. You know, I said on the last pod, I think there's a place for him. But if he's not even going to pick him in the squad for the Europa League, it's done.
He's not going to play for Arsenal again, is he? So
I thought he might. I thought he might in the odd league game, you know, the Europa. But it's not looking like he'll be gone by next summer. And that's it. That's the end of it.
Tony, where do you stand on Mesut?
I mean, I was so excited when we signed him, because we'd been waiting for like a marquee signing. He came in. You know, the stats were fantastic. But I've got to say, as much as I love the technicality and everything like that, I didn't see that kind of, you know, the heart after a little while. And I kind of had enough. I saw him dropping his head when the club was going down, and he's a World Cup winner. And right now, I've got no time for, we all said earlier, the harmony is coming back to the club. And anything that's coming away from that, we keep it out of the way. I'm really sorry. And it is nothing, as you said, shithousery. And we need that out of the way. I think maybe even with Guendouzi, you know, we need that. I don't want him to leave the club. I think he's got great potential, and that could be a negative influence. Someone like Ozil, get him out of the dressing room. We're signing players now where their personality and character is it's a winning formula. You've got to sign people with the right attitude. And once he's out of the dressing room, I'm seeing a really united room. I really am, really united dressing room.
Yeah, Demian, they tried to kind of, you know, promote this fist pump the other day. And I was like, Arteta didn't even look like he was into that fist pump. I mean, it's just absolute bollocks, all of it. He's a PR whore. Sorry, he really is. And again, this isn't an attack on him as a person who does good things. But what Amanda just said too, in terms of who he keeps company with, it just makes you wonder about Ozil. To me, he's not been the same player since he was, and I said this on the show the other day, where he was held up as the fall guy for Germany's failures in the World Cup. Mentally, he seems a little weak. He's one of those players that really needs to feel the love, and when he doesn't, he crumbles. And, you know, he's a father now, he's married, he's had a lot of things and a lot of landmark moments in his life off the pitch that maybe have contributed to him falling out of love with football. And sometimes, you know, in our profession, sometimes writers can't write. Sometimes musicians can't, you know, carry a tune.
Musician.
Demian?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's several things to unpack here. I think I'll preface this by saying that I don't presume to ever tell another person how to live their lives or assume that they should do something or that I know what's going on in their lives. I think that if we look at it in two ways, one on the pitch and another one outside. Outside, the philanthropy, all this other stuff is interesting and I respect it. To me, it's the least that he can do for the world to be in that position. We all would love to do that and more if we were in a similar position as him. If he was as generous as he claims to be, he would have paid the dinosaurs wages and not told anybody. He didn't have to tell anybody. The same way that all of us have donated to millions of GoFundMes, and we don't tell anybody or whatever. So there's something there that I think it does invite for conversation like ours. Not that we should, but we're doing it, so it doesn't matter. And then on the pitch, which is what bothers me the most, as you girls know, Dennis Bergkamp is to me better than Messi and Ronaldo put into one, and Guardiola and Zidane, anybody. And the fact that he is a number 10, taken over Dennis Bergkamp's number 10 jersey, or subsequently after a couple of players, it's an insult to the club to me. Like, if you have somebody like that, and then Ozil comes in who doesn't track back, and all the other things that we can criticize him for on the pitch, I think that's an objective way to see it. And I can't separate the two either. So when I try to only look at on the pitch, so like Amanda says, like, you know, to refute your point, Sophie, when she says like, well, you haven't seen him. Well, neither have you. And so we don't know how he's going to play, and neither have I. Obviously, I'm not insulting your opinion. I'm saying it's like for him to get to a certain level, he would have to play a bunch of matches, and none of us see him play a bunch of matches to get to the point where he's going to play well. And then is he going to play well 5, 6, 7, 10 games in a row, which is what we need. And he's never done it in his career at our club. So why would we go back to something? It's new time. Take it easy.
He's gone.
Super Kev, as a player, surely, I mean, he would never have survived in your Arsenal team. We know that. Everyone knows that. You don't have to be a football fan to even know that one. But as a footballer and as a teammate, what do you think? I mean, I don't want to, you know, assume, as Demian said, but what's your take if he was your teammate?
The take on it is when you have a dressing room that's together, the dressing room doesn't do things that will hurt the dressing room or the club. This is what having a good team spirit is all about. Now, the fact of the matter is, Gunnosaurus has had a good gig for 20 odd years, right? Let's be honest, he's had a good gig for 20 odd years. And the club have decided to shelve him for whatever reason. Now, because he's at loggerheads with the football club, he wants to make it plain that he's going to pay Gunnosaurus's wages, right? That's going to hurt the club. Of course it is, because that's a player going against the club. And that's the highest paid player going against the club, which is wrong. The thought process of it is right. It's a nice gesture. But Demian and Tony and everyone here is right. You could have kept quiet and done it. You could have gone to the captain and said, look, tell the club, we'll sort it out. I've got this.
Right.
And that's the way you could have done it. But that would save the dressing room and that would save the football club. But after he done that, do you reckon there's any chance for Mesut Ozil at Arsenal Football Club after going against the club? making the club look like they're wicked to get rid of this Gunnosaurus, when it will be the club paying Gunnosaurus through Ozil. You must be mad. He's done. Finito.
If I can say something really quickly, there have been lots of others redundancies and people let go. So what Ozil is saying is like, well, if you are the biggest visibility employee or visible employer, I got you. But the other dozens of people that were doing just as an important job as Gunnosaurus, he doesn't stand up for them. So he's saying, why not? Why the people that nobody sees? Precisely because of what you say, Sophie, about being a PR thing. And it rubbed me the wrong way. And it's like as if I needed anything else. And I almost tweeted like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I take back everything negative I've said about Ozil. That's like the reaction. But in reality, I agree 100% with Kevin. 100%.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? Because you've got Marcus Rashford, who's doing something, who he genuinely, he's got a point to relate. He cares. And you can see he's making a difference. Ozil, the blunt matter is, you just care about yourself, mate. I think all you're bothered about is this war. And really, if I'm Arsenal, I'm much bigger than you. I wouldn't mind if they put something out, casting him aside, because you're fooling nobody. You know, it's a really sad thing. And the club could make him look really silly, to be honest.
KC, why can't they pay him off?
On gardening leave. No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why the club will not pay him off. Because if they pay him off, it has to be negotiated. Now he's going to want all of his money.
Well, they tried that, didn't they, KC? And he didn't.
Yeah, they tried to negotiate, and he's not going to negotiate because he said he's going to stay because that means he gets all of his money. Okay.
How much money does he need? Seriously?
No. It's the principle now, because when you see a player going against a club like this, petty. This is petty, right?
Yeah.
It's personal. So Ozil wants all of his money. The club have said, look, we'll cut you a deal. He don't want a deal. He wants all of his money. So the only way the club will be able to get him out the club is by giving him all his money. The club ain't going to do that because you know why? It would be such a great thing for the club to pay him up to get him out, and then he could go somewhere else and get paid again. No, let him suffer. Let him see the progress within the club. Let him see some of these young players come through. Let him see Thomas Partey come into the team, and let him see the team rise. He's already seen Arsenal win the trophies. Now, win the FA Cup and the Community Shield. That enjoyment within the club. Listen, for a player who's on the outskirts, that's a cold night. Let me tell you, that's painful.
Yeah, but I think
Arteta knows what he's doing. Arteta knows what he's doing.
I think he warms himself up with the fact that he's going to earn £1 million every month. So I'm sure he's not that cold.
Doesn't matter. Listen,
if he cared,
PG, let me just tell you this.
I'll tell you this. Something as well.
Let me tell you this. If Mesut Ozil cared about playing football,
that's what I was just about to say.
He would be playing.
Yeah, he doesn't care about. Yeah, but he doesn't care about the. But he doesn't care about the trophies then, does he? He cares about his £1 million a month. Otherwise, he'd have pissed off to another club and taken the deal from Arsenal.
No, it's because he don't care about playing.
Yeah, he's like...
Well, then he doesn't care about trophies.
No. But if you play to win trophies.
Absolutely,
PG.
He's not playing. He cares about looking at his bank account and getting £1 million a month.
That's right,
£1 million
or whatever.
a month.
Listen, let's have it right. It's 1.4.
I worked out less tax.
1.4 or whatever.
Yeah, we've got to pay tax a month.
Yeah, before tax. But let's have it right here. Him and Sanchez ran their contracts down. Arsenal allowed it. We had to keep one. We gave him the contract then at the time. He's in his last year of his contract. He would think nothing better than to be paid off right now so he can swan off somewhere. Yeah. No, let him suffer. Let him see the emergence of Arsenal. Let him see what's coming. Because you know what? He is not the now and he's not the future. He is the past.
Do we own his image rights? Don in chat is saying, I think we do still own, obviously he's our player, right? So we make Ozil is the most followed Arsenal player on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, he's close to 30. No, I unfollowed him too, that's for sure. He's definitely got a following around the world, and we signed him because of the marketability factor after Sanchez left. Mostly,
he's
obviously,
in his last year. So he's in his last year. So It's not going to make no difference to us now anyway.
No, not on the pitch, but when you're in tough times, when Kieran Tierney's the #1 shirt seller when Project Restart kicked in, that tells you a lot about how Arsenal fans feel about someone like Mesut Ozil. I mean, the fact that Tierney was selling more shirts than Aubameyang was shocking to me, to be honest with you. But that shows you the player that Arsenal fans want to see at the club. And the Tesco bag had everything to do with that as well. Go on.
Yeah, a bit of skill, a bit of toughness.
I just feel it's a little bit embarrassing, all of this. It really is. It's just an embarrassing situation.
For everyone. But this is it now. The positive way of looking at it is that Arsenal have £350,000 potentially, if it works that way, to split up with wages for 2 or 3 incredible players, if they're going to put it like that.
Next summer, yeah.
It's a big. I think they've got, whether it's he definitely. I can't say his name right. The boy from Lyon. I think I'm saying it right. He definitely wanted to come to Arsenal. It was only purse strings and contracts that got in the way. We're going to get rid of Ozil, who's not been playing for us for 2 years, and you're going to have a really exciting player come in, maybe 2 with the wages he's on. So thank you. See you later, and we'll bring some more silverware once you're gone. You can enjoy.
Well, we just got to get over it and get him gone, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And we'll deal with it.
To go. Divorce paper's nearly done.
Problem is social media, he lives on it, and that's what he did with the dinosaur. He should have gone private and then let that come out later on next year by someone else.
I'm going to do a soap and Demi, I might have to unfollow him, unfortunately. Sorry, Mesut.
I did. I unfollowed him. The minute I could, I unfollowed him.
Haven't.
I just think... what's the point if you're an Arsenal fan in following him? Because you're going to find out what he gets up to on social media through all sources. Listen, when you post a picture of yourself in a Real Madrid kit, okay, for a symbolic Muslim holiday, that tells you a lot about him. Don't tell me it was a throwback Thursday or a flashback Friday. That is to get the goat up of every single Arsenal fan out there and the club. Arsenal are paying you 350 grand a week, and you post a picture of yourself in a Real Madrid kit. Who does that?
It's terrible, isn't it? It's so bad.
It's liberties. He's taking liberties, man.
He's throwing his toys out the pram. That's what he's doing.
No. He's taking liberties.
I don't think we should talk about him anymore. Right. From now on. Let's get on to some. Let's find out what Tony and Demian think we're going to achieve this season. I had to do the wider shot to get that guitar in there. Look at that. Maybe you could play us two, play us a tune and some background music. We've got ourselves covered. Is he going to serenade us?
I'm the Ozil of YouTube guy.
All right, so we kind of made all of our predictions for the season, and I was laughing, Amanda, because I went back and looked at that. You and I both chose Aston Villa to get relegated. Somehow, I don't think that is going to happen this season. Demian, I'll start with you. Based on what we know now, with the summer transfer window that went on for, it felt like an eternity, but that's how 2020 feels. How does your top 4 look?
It has changed for the past few weeks.
You can't change it once you can't.
No. Right now, well, I'll say it'll stay. But I thought Chelsea's offseason was scary, like buying all these amazing players. I was like, oh my God. And there's just something about them that I think. So I'm going to go with Chelsea champions.
That's what I said.
Liverpool second.
That's what I said.
Arsenal third.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
And Man City 4th. That's my top 4.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And I was going to say Leicester. I have this thing in the back of my head that says Leicester might win it for no reason whatsoever other than complete speculation and throw of the die. But I think Chelsea, just that power,
Their defense is a bit of a nightmare still. If they and as the season after the international break, we're really going to start finding out what these teams are like. I think that's when the season really kicks in. Tony, what's your top 4 look like?
So even after the Villa game, I think Liverpool, they'll settle things down, and I do think that the best of a bad bunch, because there's a lot of poor defenses in the top 6 clubs at the moment, and for once we're not bottom of the pile. Right. I'm going to say Liverpool. I am going to say City still. I think Pep will claw them back. I think we are going to get in the top 4 this year. And the team I'm worried about is, I'm a bit controversial here, The Chelsea, for me, I think there's too many new things going on. I don't think it just happens like that. And I really like Frank Lampard, but I'm not totally convinced yet. Man United aren't even going to finish in the top 6 the way they're going, in my opinion. I think Arsenal 3rd and Spurs are going to be 4th. Out of Man United, out of Man United and Chelsea, I think Tottenham are going to be the ones that are going to be as close to us, I think, this year. I think we're going to have a good season. I think we'll finish 3rd.
I do think Tottenham have had a good transfer window, and it's not controversial to say that. They have. They've really strengthened in places that they were weak. They've got a deeper squad. They've got Son, as Amanda. I think she has a secret crush on Son, but anyway,
he's just brilliant.
I'm sorry, he is.
He's a stud. He's
brilliant.
He's such a great. He's a good player.
I don't have that feeling for him, but on the football pitch, he's just phenomenal. He is.
I mean, and they're doing this all, and I think we all agree that we don't know if Gareth Bale's ever going to be the same player again or what he brings to the table. But let's just say that he does end up being decent. That is a very, very good front three. Super Kev, we made our top 4 selections, and I believe you had Liverpool winning the title. I had Man City, and Amanda had Chelsea. Any regrets?
Nope.
No?
Same.
Any regrets with your top 4, though?
No, none at all. Nope.
Okay.
Oh, as if he'd say anyway. Can you imagine him?
No, why wouldn't I? Excuse me, it's my part to talk, not yours. Get on loan. Go on loan somewhere, will ya?
You didn't even put Everton in there. Your old club, who are number 1.
Let me talk.
Kevin, do you think that Chelsea investment, that because everyone there's a couple of people that want to know what you think of Timo, especially being a striker and stuff, and I think Kai Havertz will, it's okay doing it in the League Cup, but doing it in the league is completely different. To me, they are a little bit like where we've been. Their defense is very questionable, and I think not letting Rudiger go is going to end up helping them. I don't know why Lampard doesn't really fancy him, but do you think Lampard, and because I think Lampard has the talent to do it, I think Solskjaer doesn't, but I also think Solskjaer is inept in terms of being a tactical manager that can pull United out of this mess, even with the players he has. Do you see Lampard being the guy that can really make, because on paper, Chelsea are frightening.
Yeah. But the great thing about football is it's never played on paper. It's played on the pitch. Now, Lampard, he's got a bit more steel. Yes, he's got a bit more steel about him, and the players respect him because he's a Chelsea legend, isn't he? But the integration and the connections of defense to midfield and midfield to strikers, that hasn't formed yet. So whereas last season he had a lot of the young players who had played together and they knew each other, now he's bringing in big money signings, and that's upsetting the apple cart at times. Players don't know each other. We've still not seen Ziyech yet. Where is he? Mm-hmm. So it's the balls are being juggled and they're falling. Rudiger lost his place, etc. So things ain't quite settled at Chelsea yet. After about 10, 15 games, they might settle down, but they might have they might be far behind. So they better watch themselves, Chelsea.
Yeah. Amanda?
But I also feel it's going to depend on what goes on each week with players that may have contracted COVID, because this is getting out of hand. Why the hell we're travelling and putting players together that have not been in their bubbles together for international is beyond anything I can comprehend. I'm sorry, there's more to life than doing interdoles at the moment. Just keep the players with the players in their bubbles, in their clubs. That is more important. The fact that Tin is arguing with the Scottish FA saying I socially it has become ridiculous. If you are negative on a test, you are negative and just play, because socially distance doesn't happen on the pitch. It doesn't happen at the grounds with all the playing staff. So just let them get on with it. If they're not well, they don't play, obviously.
We could do a lasagna, how we poisoned Spurs back in the day. Before a big game, we could get someone to go and give a bit of Corona to the opposition, maybe.
No, Tony, no.
That was the Arsenal magic, Tom.
We don't need to do anything like that anymore.
All right. So before we come back to the top of the table, I do want to get Tony and Demian's relegation teams as well. So Tony, we'll stick with you. Who do you have going down? I fear, as I said, Amanda and I picked Villa, but this is why you shouldn't do it before the transfer window closes.
I know.
Poor old Scotty Parker. He's just dubbing his interviews over streets videos and stuff like that. Dry your eyes, mate. And I feel sorry for him, but they're looking on for another record, aren't they? The way they're plummeting.
Yeah.
I think Burnley, and I don't know really with Sheffield United, because you have this whole kind of second season kind of thing. I hope they're all right, because I think there's a great coach there and there's some great players, but potentially maybe them getting drawn in as well. I think maybe it could be that'll be the three that I go for at the moment. That
coach there's something about him that is this. I hope Sheffield United go down. I really do. There's something. I mean, he's so self-righteous sometimes. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox.
It's about Leeds in a funny way, to be honest. I do hear what you're saying. It was quite, and that's the mighty Leeds United. I'm glad they're back, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. And I hope they continue to do well.
But they're rivals, you see. They're rivals.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
Yorkshire, yeah.
True, Kev.
D, what you got? Who you got going down?
I actually have Fulham as well, Sheffield, and I thought of Burnley for a while, but I like Sean Dyche. So I'm going to say Brighton are actually going down. So Brighton, Sheffield, and Fulham.
All right. And then before we move on to a couple questions Amanda has for you, who wins Europa League? Who wins Champions League? Can you imagine? Can anyone take an Arsenal-Tottenham Europa League final? Because I can't.
No, never. No.
What's that question for me or for Tony?
Both of you. Jump in.
God. Yeah. You go for it.
All right. Thank you. The Europa League, I'm going to say Arsenal. I'm just saying it. And I actually believe it. It's just not hoping. I actually believe it. Even though maybe Roma has a good path there. And I'm going to say, controversially, and I know Sophie's going to hate me for this, but I actually think that Football Club Barcelona is going to win the Champions League this year.
Not a chance.
I know.
I don't think so either.
I know.
I love you, D, but no chance, mate.
I know. But there's something. I love Messi, and there's something magical about Messi, and I'm hoping that maybe this year he can do magical things. And what more magical of a thing than to win the Champions League when nobody expects him that he can do it? Let's see. I don't know.
Okay. Tony?
I'm gonna go with D as well. I think the Europa League for us, the last bit of European and only real bit of European silverware, I was going mad as a toddler around my room when King Kev over there was in the semi-final against, was it PSG? Was it? So I was super young, but we've won the Cup Winners' Cup. And since then, like mighty club like Arsenal, I think we're the biggest underachievers alongside Atleti. So for me, that's a priority. It's Champions League football as well. Arsenal going to win the Europa League. I'd actually like to see Juve win the Champions League after winning the domestic title for a decade in a row.
I said Juve, Tom.
Yeah,
really. I hope they get it done and they can move on. But Bayern Munich, I think, will win it. My heart is Juve, but Bayern are going to win the Champions League.
That's what me and Sophie said.
Yeah,
I think.
that was our choice. It's going to be really interesting. I think I would love to see Cristiano win another Champions League with Juve. I mean, seeing a Messi-Ronaldo final maybe one more time, that would be really special, I think, to kind of arc that story and that legacy for both of them. Right. You're listening to the Highbury Squad. This is our fan show. And of course, Amanda, that means we need to find out a little bit more about these geezers, doesn't it?
We do, these geezers. I'm going to start with Tony. So, Tony, you are our Arsenal fan of the week on the Highbury Squad. So tell us, how did you get into Arsenal? What did it come from your dad or family or friends? Where did you live? Where did you grow up? Tell us.
So for not only is my dad a fanatical Gooner, my mum is an absolute hooligan Arsenal fan as well.
Oh, fantastic!
To the
We
point
love
where-
her. She's coming on next.
She knows, Sue. So we had a pet cat, and anytime Kev or Righty or someone would score, the cat would fly up off the floor and jet out of the house. We'd never see him for a week because mum was going bonkers.
Oh,
So
I love your mum.
Before they knew if I was a boy or a girl when I was conceived, they knew I was an Arsenal fan. So I had no chance. My mum and dad are from Stokey. I now live in sort of out North London. But yeah, my dad created a monster. I was even more fanatic than the pair of them put together. So yeah, that's it. And I've been all over Europe.
How old are you, Tony? How old are you?
I'm now 34. So I'm very, very lucky. I was born in the Graham era. And I remind a lot of people that give it large about Wenger that George Graham won almost as many trophies as Arsene. And we're a massive club. I've been there throughout the whole success and the little interlude, but we're back now.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. I love your mum. She'll have to come on. Honestly, that is just brilliant. This is what my son would say about me.
Really? You need mum on after the watershed because she'll be all lovely. And then all of a sudden, she'll be going mad, Sue.
We love mum. We love mum. Get her on.
Love mum already.
Aaron Shirley on. Oh, my
God. You're a typical Arsenal fan that was born in the area. You've got your parents that are Arsenal. It's a little bit different for me. I was born in Essex. My mum hates football and all her family are Tottenham. My dad is the most fanatical. He's probably 10 times worse than your mum. I don't even want to go there with my dad. So it's a little bit different. You were born in the area, so it's expected. Where I come from, it's either West Ham, Tottenham or Arsenal. And now we move to Demi-Anne, who doesn't live in the area, who doesn't live in the country, who lives across the pond that way or that way, but is just as passionate as any Arsenal fan I know and absolutely supports the Arsenal women's football team superbly as well. So tell us, Demi-Anne, how did you get into supporting Arsenal and being a bass drummer for the Jonas Brothers? I mean, phenomenal.
Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, I'm from a little farther south, from North London, from Caracas, Venezuela, originally.
Oh, Caracas.
Yeah, right.
Love it.
Caribbean, yes. So my dad would travel a lot, and he would bring me either albums or CDs or VHS tapes of the Dutch national team, who he knew I loved and adored. And one time he gave me a highlights of I think it was the 96 and 97 season. And all I could watch was Ian Wright score, and I would see the JVC shirts like you have right behind you. And the stereo that he had bought me earlier that summer that got me into music was a JVC stereo. So everything kind of made this, I'm like this perfect product of marketing. And it made me fall in love with the team. And Ian Wright looked like me, my skin color or closer to what I was. And I could relate to him. And I just started falling in love with Arsenal. And back then was very little internet access in Venezuela. And I was able to find things here and there. And then the 98 World Cup came about. And I saw my love, the Dutch, whom I love. And Dennis Bergkamp scored that goal against Argentina. And that was it. And I became it became the most amazing journey. And funny enough, and it's not funny, but I'll just share this to point out how big of a fan I am. This Saturday will be 1 year to the day where my house burned here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And when my wife, I was on tour, and when my wife, the house was literally on fire. She called me. She's like, "Babe, the house is on fire. What can I grab from the house?" And I said, "Babe, you know that Dennis Bergkamp jersey?" That's it.
It's true, you did.
That I swear to you, that was
I love that, D. I love that,
D. Oh,
Yes. So I have an Arsenal jersey, and I have 2 Netherlands jerseys and a couple others. But that's it. And like Amanda said, I can now not separate or cannot not think of the women Arsenal team. And I have to admit, I follow them more. I care about them more than the men's squad. And everything and anything and everything that we've dreamt of and won in our team, on the men's team for years, that's all of that been on the women's side. The cohesion, the love, the fight, the grit, the no nonsense, the very little wages, and they play like better than Ozil. I mean, everything. It's just there for us to see and for us to appreciate. And how Daniela Van de Donk plays, how Beth Mead plays, how Jordan Nobbs play. These women are unbelievable. And we are so lucky to have them right there in our club. And you guys that have been to so many Arsenal matches, I envy you, and you're so lucky to go, even if it's horrific football and we're losing and blah, blah, blah. Just imagine how lucky you are. I've been able to go to the Emirates a couple of times, or one time. I got a tour by Charlie George. We were only like 3 people. It was a rainy Thursday morning. It was like the most beautiful day of my life. But that's it. I've never been to a match. And the fact that well, now through COVID, you can't, but just appreciate it. And for all the fans out there that all the focus is on the hate and all this other stuff. And I've gotten so much stuff from not being a Londoner and not belonging and all this other stuff. I've had to block so many people. It's insane. But I know that's not the normal Arsenal fan. And I've had Spurs fans come to my defense and Chelsea fans come to my defense, and just love it. And whoever's out there that doesn't see how beautiful it is to live in England and to live in London and to be able to watch the mighty Arsenal, do it for me. Do it for all of us that are all. Do it for Sophie. She's here with me. We're closer to each other than we're to you guys. So it's just lovely to be a part of this beautiful community and to be embraced by the real fans who are the real fans, not the ones that claim to be real fans that alienate others from where they're from.
No.
Yeah. And COVID has really hampered our travel plans this year, especially because there's a few of us that. And, Mike from Gooner's podcast, I was with him. He was in London last year. All of these guys that plan their calendar, to go to London for specific games. And it just so happened that we went out there, not together, but we just so happened to be out there at the same time, you guys. And we were at the last ever game, the West Ham game. We went to the Olympiacos Europa League game. We were going to go away. I think it was City. Right, because City came after the West Ham game, Amanda, right?
Yeah.
And I saw Amanda. We got to hang out at the West Ham game and stuff like that. And so now we're all in the same boat. None of us can go.
Well, the thing is, I was sorry. I was just thinking what Demian said. I've always said if Demian comes over, he'll come and sit with me. I'll get him a ticket. I'd said that last time when we met anyway. And it's really interesting. You know how much I stand up for supporters around the world. I won't have it on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else. I think you're just as much a fan as me or even Tony, who lives probably closer than I do. But when I go to the Emirates, because I've always had a season ticket for God knows how many years, and it is a bad match. I get the ump. I go out and I think, oh, why did I bother? It's cold, it's rainy. But then when I hear things like that, Demian, and not only from you, from thousands and thousands of people, I feel so lucky that I walk up those stairs and get to my seat and sit and watch the Arsenal. And it's made me appreciate it more since social media, because obviously I've been going since, late 70s. So it was just a normal thing for me to do. It was never... Oh, it was always special, but it wasn't week after week, sometimes a Thursday night, then a Saturday or a Sunday. It became
the norm, didn't it?
It just became, sometimes I used to go, oh, can I go tonight? I've got work tomorrow. I mean, and you've got Demian and millions that would just be desperate. A cold night in Stoke, as they say, they would go. They would go. And you know what? As I've always said, Demian, you come over here, and we're back in the ground, you will come and sit with me in the East Stand. It's just so, it's just so lovely, though, that we have a global fan base, and anyone that slags that off is pathetic. Yeah. And I tell them that as well. I always.
We have listeners in our chat from India, from China, from Indonesia.
Oh, everywhere.
From everywhere around the world. And Tony, have you played some gigs for the club, or you've done?
I had. One of my last gigs before lockdown was actually a private party in the concourses of the ground, which was absolutely phenomenal. But before then, it was my goal this year, actually, because I was due to be DJing at the Euros. I was resident at Wembley for all 7 fixtures in the bowl to the stadium. So I've had the privilege of working with a rugby team, the NFL. And you know what? I was really gutted, because my goal this year was to do the Euros and then be like, I've done this, Arsenal, here's the story. I want to come on board and just do whatever I can to work at the club. But now I think it's just even more, just getting the fans back in the stadiums is going to mean it's incredible the effect that it's had. Something interesting I wanted to point out was that even I spoke to a friend of mine the other day who's a Spurs fan, and we were talking about, where can we go to the games again? He said, well, my son's just been scouted by the Arsenal, which I thought was incredible. And he says he can't even go through his trials because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's halted so many things. We can't go to the ground. The kid can't have his trial. So when it does come back, I think it's going to be. I think all of us are going to want it even more than ever.
We will never take it for granted again, ever. Never. We won't. We won't, because we'll all remember this when we've been desperate to go. And one thing I would like to say as well, Tony, will you DJ at my 30th when I turn 30?
Well, let me check my diary for 5 years' time, because you're not a day over 25. Come on.
Look at that.
You know how to play it. That's
Wait, hold on a minute. She's going on load. She won't even be here. She's going on load.
Can we get Kev to do a party hard though? If Kev's on percussion,
man, light it up.
I love it.
We could have a whole band here. I've got the best singing voice ever.
Light it up, light it up,
light it up. Wait till you hear Amanda sing. Super Kev, when you hear this stuff, now you're in the media and you're a beloved player. Not only with Gooners, but Evertonians love you just as much. And Arsenal fans, I think, have a little bit of a soft spot for Everton. And I think mostly that has a lot to do with you and Mr. Arteta as well. When you hear all this kind of stuff, and when you were playing, you could still see players from around the world on TV, but it was much more, it wasn't as accessible, was it? So when you kind of see it now, are you happy with the era you played in, or do you kind of wish now with the new audiences and stuff like that, would you change it for anything or no? Now you have a different connection in the game, right?
No, I wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest. I mean, you grow up in an era and that's it, don't you? You come through. What you laughing about, you?
I'm just thinking that you would change something. You'd have me not in the
No,
East
hold on.
hold
on. You see, she goes too early. Now she give me what ammunition. Look, coming up as a 70s kid, and going to my first game in the 70s, and having the privilege, because it is a privilege when you support a club, and then the privilege to play for the Arsenal, come through the ranks, get coached by Pat Rice and Vic Akers as a kid. Then you come through the ranks, Pat Rice, Geordie Armstrong, Stuart Houston there, and then George Graham's the manager. When you do that as a player with the club you love, Arsenal are my oxygen. So when they're your oxygen,
that's a great line.
Yeah, when they're your oxygen,
brilliant,
right? You appreciate everything connected with the club, and obviously I've gone through my career and I fell in love with Everton because that kind of connection was with Everton fans as well. So I am blessed. I really am blessed. But you know what? The football family does respect each other a lot. We have plenty banter and there's loads of stuff going on. But the football family do respect each other. And especially Everton and Arsenal and Liverpool and Arsenal have always had massive respect for each other. I could tell you that much. And they always speak highly of the Arsenal when you go up to Merseyside. That's for sure. Because they know Arsenal are genuine. They're a genuine club. Obviously, we lost our way a little bit. Now we're back. Everton seem to be doing great as well. So, listen, it's going to be a party time coming up because both clubs are doing so well. We're going to party hard. We're going to party hard. Yeah.
Amanda, this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the season, Amanda. This is what
I want my 30th to be like.
Amanda, what's the one thing I would change?
Sending Amanda out on loan.
No, he doesn't really want to send me.
No, what's the one thing I would change? Amanda, you were going to say?
Oh, no, I'm just saying you look like a bouncer tonight with your jacket and your dicky bow. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, because I'm trying to bounce you out of our club.
More like James Bond, according to James, and I agree with him totally.
Bit of interest.
Here's the scoop before we go, and I wish we could just sit and talk for hours with these two. Have they not been fantastic, you guys? Absolutely brilliant. Top quality gooners. Before we let you go, you ask Kevin, if you had one question you could ask Kevin, this is a surprise, I didn't tell them about this, but I'm sure in your head there's something that you probably would love to ask Super Kev. I'm sure Amanda has lots of questions she wants to ask, but no, Tony and Demian, if you could ask Casey, for example, someone wants to know in chat, they always the question is, what's your favorite goal you've ever scored? And usually the answer is any goal against Tottenham, but yeah,
well, what is it, Kev?
No, actually, one of my favorite goal for Arsenal, I think I've mentioned this before, was the goal against Nottingham Forest, my first goal at Highbury, in front of the North Bank, left footer. You got to remember, as a 7-year-old, standing on the North Bank, and then being able to score my first goal in front of the North Bank was amazing. Amazing.
Is that better than sex? Is that better than, these stupid questions about chocolate and sex and all that stuff? I mean,
well, for a moment it is. For a moment it is. Because you see, it's a massive adrenaline rush.
Seeing
that ball hit the back.
What a feeling.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. Seeing that
Amanda, you're gonna behave.
Net. No, she likes to walk and ride this one, so that's all right. Seeing the ball hit the back of the net is like an instant boom, and then it kind of it's chill out. But obviously, sex is a lot different for me anyway, Amanda. I don't know what goes on in your house. So.
When you like to know.
No, I don't
too
actually.
funny.
No.
Too funny.
Man.
I started this mess and I'll end it. Tony, what would you like to
ask? We got onto this anyway.
Because I'm always curious.
SD, man.
Send her out on loan.
No, but because you guys know, I mean, what a feeling to support the team and stand there, and then years later,
oh my God, yeah,
score goals for that team. I've had a feeling.
I had a dream once that I was playing for Arsenal. Only once in my whole life. I woke up, I was devastated that it was not true. It felt so real. George Graham picked me and I scored the winning goal. And it was Highbury. I've never dreamt anything similar. And I was so upset. I still remember the dream when I was about 20 odd.
PG.
I scored at Highbury.
That was a nightmare to me.
Hilarious. Tony, jump in.
I've got one for you, Kev, because you answered it beautifully there about the goal you scored against Forest. But was there a team or a player that you really couldn't wait to play against and stick like one on them, like either beat them or just show them your boss? Was there a team or a player that you felt like that about?
Yeah, all of them. To be honest, all of them, because that was the mentality at Arsenal. It was you take on all comers and you want to beat all comers.
Well, no, you're not. Wait.
No, I've got a question. That was all.
Yeah. No, you got no questions. You had your chance.
You get to ask him every week.
Tone, the great thing about that Arsenal team at that time under George Graham, especially in the 1991 season, where we ended up losing only one game, it was after 89, obviously, and then transitioning a little bit in 1990, where Liverpool won the title. It was all full steam ahead in the 1990-91 season. So it was, we're taking on all comers. We're not backing down. It was obviously the Battle of Old Trafford and all that. There was no backing down against anybody. We even get points deducted and we still won it clear. So any opponent, it didn't matter. Whether it was Arsenal playing Man United, Arsenal playing Liverpool, Arsenal playing Spurs, Arsenal playing whoever. That was our mentality. We took them on and we looked to grind them into the floor. That was it. And we were the near invincibles. We couldn't do it like Wenger.
I love reminding people, Kev, you were part of that team. I love reminding other people when they're talking about how great Arsenal are. We lost one game. It's phenomenal. Game, yeah. People easily forget that.
They do. Yeah. They really do forget that. That's true. Very true. D, what you got for Super Kev?
I got something a little more not as beautiful, I guess, but I guess it could be. we're always talking about the glory times and playing at Highbury, which is the most surreal thing. And I can't even believe I'm speaking to somebody that played at Highbury. I actually met Edu and I spoke to him about that. It was a beautiful experience as well. But you have gone through difficult moments as a footballer and as a person, of course, like we all have. But more than the moment itself, do you remember who or what got you through that particularly hard moment, or one that stands out in your mind? And I say this because through COVID, we're all dealing with so much things. Maybe somebody out there needs a little extra motivation.
Yeah, no, I think this is really important. That's a really, really good question, Demian. You know, I do quite a bit for charity, and I do stuff with the homeless and football. And what I always say to them is, you need, as a person, and we all need it, we all need our own personal toolbox. And in that toolbox, you have to have tools that can help you through difficult times, whether it's a film, whether it's some pictures, whether it's music, whether it's whatever it is, somebody who you could speak to. There has to be tools in your toolbox to get you through. And not everything, one size doesn't fit all. There's certain things, if you're going through a tough time in a relationship, you might want to revert back. That's why a lot of people like music, because it kind of helps them through, soothes them through, you know, a breakup or difficult times. You know, another great one is, whenever I look at old Arsenal photos, if I'm ever feeling, which I'm never really down, but if I'm ever feeling like a pick-me-up, I look at some of them old Arsenal photos, and photos are like a time capsule. They take you back to the actual moment. You could remember the sounds, you could remember the people, you could remember stuff. So that's what I do. I've done it since I was a boy. So having that toolkit, that toolbox, I think is really important for everybody. How you relate to yourself and how you get yourself out of difficult times. That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Love that. Oh, it's lovely.
Wow. That's, you know, it's really true, because this is why I think when we were talking on the show the other day about really hoping everyone does come back from COVID healthy, because I know we can't go to games, and I know that, you know, there are a lot of people going through a lot of difficult times, and I don't think we know the half of it in terms of what outwardly we see on social media, even with friends and family, and what's going on behind closed doors. It's a very life is hard enough as it is sometimes. But when you look at people, especially in our industry, media, music, entertainment, events, I mean, this is a catastrophic time, you know, for people to be dealing with, and to have the outlet of football to be able to speak to people, to really kind of connect. I know it's keeping me going, and I feel like I hope football isn't taken away from us again, because right now it's the one thing that we can all look forward to, right?
100% true. I think I am. When lockdown started, I ended up clearing out a load of bits and pieces, and I got a lot of my old Arsenal shirts from when I was a kid. And a friend, my best mate, he said to me, "You're doing that because it's your childhood memories. And in a time of difficulty, because our events game, as you said, Sophie, is in such a difficult place, you go back to, got pictures of you, Kev, and Rocky, my first poster as a kid. You go back to them because it means a lot to you, gives you a comfort. So when people say, you know, you don't live near the ground, you're not a Gooner, or you're not this, or you're not that, Arsenal's a massive identity, and it means something to all of us, no matter where you are around the world. And it does help you through, even communicating with you guys on Twitter, or, you know, it makes a big difference. It's like a comfort blanket during a difficult time, even if it winds us up sometimes.
100%.
I like that one.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, the hybrid squad is a great one to have in the toolbox. Everybody needs a hybrid squad in the toolbox.
Everybody needs a bit of hybrid squad.
Yes, definitely. Please share, please like. You know, we don't overly do that when we're doing our shows, and we don't bang on about please like us, please share, please follow. But we certainly do appreciate everybody who has been joining us lately, and you know, we're loving where the show's been going so far this season. Amanda and I are eternally grateful that we have Super Kevin Campbell in our squad, and you know, we laugh and joke about sending her out on loan, but we just all love hanging out together. And I think, we care about our guests. We love the people that we have on the show. We've got some really good friends of the show, and connecting with, fans like Tony and Demian as well. Super smart and people that really love the club. It means the world to us. And we're going to be back tomorrow night as well with another show, guys. So Demian and Tony, you can definitely share this one. We've got Spanish football expert Ben Hayward on for our Thomas Partey special. We're going to be breaking down from his forehead to his neck to his chest to his knees, his feet, his everything. Tony, get working on that tune for us for sure. Amanda, do you have anything left in the laundry basket before we go?
No, I was just saying that I think Demian should get his crew, the Jonas Brothers, to sing Good Old Arsenal on stage one night. I think that we dare you to do that, okay?
I'll see. I'll work hard on that for sure. I promise.
In front of millions of people, that would be it. The bucket list would be complete. No, I think it's brilliant.
Joe got invited to kick a penalty for Spurs or something. So since then, we don't speak. But
no.
Of course, he's my boss. So yes.
Band list. Where's my folder? Band list. Which Jonas brother was that?
Joe.
I bet it was Joe.
Joe Jones.
Sophie should be teaching him better than that. What's going on there?
I know. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. No, true. That's true. Everyone has their failings.
Tony, get your mum ready for our next fan show. I think it's going to be a must to get.
We're going to have your mum on.
Belts. When she's called Sue, I'll call her the Sooligan because she's right.
She has to come on. We are definitely we'll do a late night one, like about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We'll have Sue on. Sue the Gooner.
Sue and Shirley. Oh my God. Could you imagine them two? Oh my God.
We need to do Shirley.
After 11 o'clock, a watershed of 11.
I don't think me and Sophie would get a word in with Sue or Shirley. Could you imagine? And I love Shirley.
Be fantastic. We're going to have to make it happen. Right. Thank you so much to everyone in chat and everyone who's going to watch on replay. We'll send the link up as well in a few here. And there's only one thing left to say, Amanda, and that is
always Arsenal.
Ching ching. I don't know. I'm going to end the broadcast. It's happening. Doesn't want to end.